George is in Chicago. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show, George.
Hey, Dave, how are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Amen. So I bought your book, The Total Money Makeover, in December of 2017. I read it in about a week, and then, starting January of 2018, I was like, hey, babe, let's do this. And she was in line with me. We did. So for the last, 14 months, we've been on it, following your principles verbatim. The only thing I can't convince her to do, and I don't want to get into an argument with her, it was cut up the one credit card we have, which doesn't have a balance. I think she's just holding on to it for, security's sake. Okay.
All right. Well, I think you're right, and I think you need to not think. Let's ask her. Why is it that you want to hold the card? And that's not an intimidating, sarcastic question, okay? It's an honest question. We're just sitting here quietly going, help me understand, because we're winning more than we've ever won with money. We've had a great year. And why is it you want to keep this particular card? Okay?
Okay.
And if she says something like, well, I've had it since college. Well, it's not an old boyfriend. It's a card. Why do you want to keep the card? Okay, because I've had it since college is not a real reason, right? Although sometimes people give me that reason. I think you'll find it is one of two things. It almost always boils down to this. And I think you've already hit on it. I think number one thing is it's a security blanket. If something goes wrong, I've got this. Okay? Right. And I think you'll find that. Okay? And if you find that, then we'll talk about that in a second. The second thing that comes up is if her vote in the budget committee meeting, her voice is not being heard because in your enthusiasm, you're being overbearing. She may be holding it as a power play. Because I've always got this option if Big George turns the screws down too tight because he's a wee bit enthused about this Dave crap. Okay? So sometimes that one comes up, and that's a valid thing too, which, the answer to that is obvious, that her voice needs to be heard more. And if you find that out, that's a really healthy thing to find out, that you can adjust your approach to the budget committee meeting where her vote has an equal voice in the budget committee meeting. I don't think it's what it is. I think it's security. I think you already know your wife, and you've already guessed which one it is. So I think it's number one. The way to solve that then is, okay, what amount of money in the emergency fund, or what amount of years of us managing the money perfectly like we've been doing for a year would it take for you to feel comfortable cutting that up? Because at some point, let's say you had $1 million cash in your checking account. To hold a credit card for security would be absolutely asinine.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you can go backward from there. And just go, is it $10,000? At what point? And she may just go, okay, well, once we've been managing money well for 2 years, because we got 20 years of sucking at it, then I'll just be comfortable and I'll cut it up. And we got 1 year in, and you go, okay, we have an agreement then at the end of the year. If we're still on track, you're going to cut it up. Or she may say, when we get the emergency fund to $20,000, I'll be willing to cut it up. Okay, let me tell you what will happen if she says that. And you get an agreement on that. And you say, okay, we're going to cut it up at $20,000 when we get the emergency fund there. When you get to about $10,000, she'll probably chop it because she's seeing things going the right way. But you've got however many years of your marriage doing it wrong versus 1 year of doing it right. And so you're rebuilding trust in yourself as well as in her as you guys are handling this money. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Thank you, Dave.
Yeah, so I agree with you. It would not be a hill I would die on today, but I do want clarification on it, and I want an end date based on a number of some kind, some objective measure, not when I feel like it. That's just being childish, and that's what is it you want from this, and what is it we can do to replace what you want so that you can do away with this thing.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be size of emergency fund. I think that's what it's going to be. And, of course, we're in complete agreement. You're not using the stupid thing. You're getting out of debt, not in. And you said you're carrying a zero balance, but I wouldn't even have it out of the wallet. I'd just put it in the drawer, and you do all your transactions with debit cards, cash, and the occasional check and online transfer. But zero use of the credit card. Now, that's non-negotiable. I will have a fight about that. We've got to stop using the stupid thing. It's a crutch. And so you've got to break that. Once you break that, then you say, okay, what do we replace it with? And is it security? Is it power? And let's replace it. It almost always falls in one of those two categories.